All right. Welcome, everyone. This is Dynasty, the podcast show. I am your host, Ira Bush. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for tuning in. Today we have it's pretty good show. Pretty much everything, we consistent. We starting a little early. We got a lot going on. Today is my first day of the basketball. We got evaluations today at 6, barring the rain. It's been raining the last day and a half, so hopefully it doesn't rain this evening and it don't cancel practice because our evaluations is on the outside court, so we need it to be dried up. We need to start raining by 1. So yesterday it rained all day. Today it looked like it's about the same type of thing. It started raining just a few minutes ago, but hopefully it don't. Now, just want to say I'm thankful and I'm grateful just to be alive and well and strong and just having the ability to speak. I say these things all the time because these are the things that are important. These are the things that make the world go around. These are the things this is how you express yourself nowadays, is via speaking. Also, action is still important, so make sure you put in your words to action. And that's what we're gonna try to build this podcast off and show, which is basically just going every day, doing things the correct way and your way, and make sure you're not cutting corners while you're doing it. One thing I'll to go into it is like, I write stuff down. I don't really have like a how do you say? I don't have this stuff I can do off the dome, but I want to kind of be organized about just giving y'all information, make sure I don't forget stuff, and go about that. So the first thing is in my intro is we have to rise over the negativity, the lies, and the deceit. Basically, what I'm trying to say is it's like every day. I have had several conversations with people close to me about just doing what you want to do and not doing what you hear or what you say, or or what other people are doing, going off of that. So it's kind of agitate, because like I'm right now, I'm in a very comfortable, like I'm in like, this is like in my bag when I just get to go up. It's the summer. The no, it's it's warm all the time. I pull up at court, it's usually people there. I could play basketball anytime. I come on here, talk sports with, just share my opinions on it. I don't have to call nobody no more. I just put, how I feel about it and leave it for others to discuss, like I did when I was younger. So I'm in like a very youthful energy, and I have a very positive mindset right now. I have, everything that I ever dreamed of I could accomplish. That's how I feel, even if it's not obtained right now. So just have that, don't let nobody have that deceit or hate to bring you down. Like, it's so funny how people could mention you and never even talk to you. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I don't know what these people have against me, but it's basically off of like skin color, basically off of being in part of a group, a hate group, and it's so much energy. I get the energy that they sending, but I don't feel the energy. If that makes sense. Like I'm not stunning you. I'm more powerful than what you sending. So it's not like I'm stunning you. Like I'm not even, whatever you sending me, it's like it's gonna get worse when you ascend, or even if you're gonna deteriorate. It's either gonna ascend or you're gonna deteriorate. And that's what people are gonna be doing after they separate themselves from being tied to me. They gonna deteriorate, so they don't want to deteriorate, so they trying to figure out how can we stay and still be a white supremacist or a Ku Klux Klan member or a good old boys club, whatever they're part of. So and I'm thinking of this because these are the most deceitful people in the world. Like, they'll play your friend the whole time and have 400 people over here hating on you, and that makes no sense because it's better just to work with the person and build with the person. And that's the truth that I'm gonna spill for y'all today. I ain't really getting into all that. I got a lot going on personally with my own with just situation with my child, and make sure my niece and nephew are properly being taken care of in this community and in this and in these schools. So we finna put the hammer to the pavement and really make sure we nail them. Make sure they know what's going on with me, and I'm not really playing with them. So that's all it is. It's just I don't have time for the you want to be cool club. You want to be cool, but you're not really that cool. So I don't care what kind of female you done touched, or how relations with, or how much you paid for them to talk to them. I don't need that. I have a real ability to speak. I have a real ability to have people gravitate towards me. So we're gonna continue. Now, priorities over popularity. I was just speaking on that, and I kind of went right into it without saying it, but it's just very important that you choose your priorities over being popular, because at the end of the day, once you turn in your 30s, even if whatever sport you played in high school, if you ain't make it to the pros, you stop your career over with. Find something that's gonna fill that void. I don't know what to tell him. I already found a boy. I enjoy coaching. I enjoy being around the youth and helping and speaking, life into people. That's not a job to me. Now my job is to be the father and and make sure I obtain wealth, or and when I obtain it, make sure I keep it. So it's like you got to work on that all the time. That's work. That's like a job. Like the way the system is set up in the United States. My family didn't leave and go to a different country and be immigrants in different countries. They stayed in America, and we have to figure out the routine and the ways of this part of the world. It's not like we out here really like warring, but it is spiritual warfare. Like I spoke on before at previous shows. So we got to make sure we staying on point with all those things and above it. And yeah, now the stage show is called Mutiny. I thought it was cool to call it Mutiny because, you know, I'm all about, I talk to y'all all the time about just being authority and speaking with authority and me challenging authority. And I've done this my whole life. So I even when I was younger, I definitely didn't disrespect my mother or grandmothers or grandfathers. I didn't do that at all. Great aunts and aunts. I was always quiet, paid attention, did what I was supposed to. Now I was with my cousins, and my sisters, and I definitely wasn't trying to be the one getting pushed over. I was over here like, y'all got to find, y'all ain't bullying me. So it was like that. And I was like, always like, I got older cousins. I got a couple young cousins, younger sister. And, I'm not in the middle, but, I'm not in the top, definitely, what I'm saying? So it's like, and I'm very, very intelligent. So I always played up. So, and I always was around up. So it wasn't nothing. And, yeah, that's pretty much it how I feel. And that's why I say mutiny. I'm gonna read you the definition real quick of what that means. I like to give a word out and tell you what it's about. It's an open rebellion against the proper authorities, especially by soldiers or sailors against their officers. So, and that's mutiny or mutinies. Like that's like you going against the popular belief, the in crowd, the whatever the down, and I'm just like I'm not going against it, but I'm challenging it. Like I speak on this all the time. Cause to right now, the people we have in authority or a rank, it's a battle, it's a tug of war, and the person that's in control of things has, look like he almost took or he has taken the wrong side completely. So I'm not going. Look, I don't want y'all Secret Service people to look for me on some some super level I don't even know about. But I'm actually know how intelligent I am, so I'm gonna speak correctly. And I ain't finna go there with you. I ain't got the resources you got, and I don't know the knowledge that you have obtained just being in that position. Now, what I see you speaking on, what I see you agreeing with, what I see you signing off on, I'm gonna kind of go there and be like, hey, that don't look right. So that's all it is. Dang, I forgot the executive. I gotta look that up. I might have to pause this one. I'm gonna pause my which call I gotta look that up because I gotta put it in right. I'm still live on YouTube, so it's all good. I'm gonna mess up my little my Instagram one, but that's okay. They gonna have to click on YouTube. I gotta get this which call it is for the register. We're gonna go right into political stuff. We're gonna do what we did yesterday when it comes to breaking down these executive orders and basically just talk about the hold on, I'm gonna pull it up. I think it's funny that they change it all the time, but yeah, I pulled it up. I'm gonna read some of this over. We back. Sorry about that. I had to get this register pulled up on my phone and make sure we on point with that. Now, that's it for my intro and whatnot. Just thankful, grateful, definition of mutiny. I read it to you. Then we're gonna go right into the executive orders and read some of that off and just break it down like each one I read off. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but we're gonna try to finish all 18 that he did in May within this. It's Tuesday. It's only Tuesday, so hopefully we finish by Saturday. And if I do the math right, it's like four to five a day. And I already did 3 yesterday, so we down to 15. So hopefully we get all this stuff done, and I don't want to spend too much time on it. The most recent one he did was in May. He might have signed some. He might have signed some the last 3 days in June. I don't know, but this is the one he did on the 29th. The couple read some. I'm gonna try to read. It was 5 he did on the 29th, so we're gonna read the first one. The ordering the reform of the nuclear regulator commissions. The purpose. The abundant injury in the vital national and economic security interests in conjunction with domestic fossil fuels production, nuclear energy can liberate America from dependence on geopolitical rivals. It can power not only traditional manufacturing industries, but also cutting edge energy intensive industries such as artificial intelligence and quantum computing. Between 1954 and 1978, the United States authorized the construction of 133 since completed civilian nuclear reactors at the 81 power plants. Since 1978, the Nuclear Regulator Commission (NRC) has authorized only fractions of that number. Of these, 2 reactors have entered into commercial operation. The NRC charges applicants by the hour to process license applications with prolonged time limits that maximize fees while throttling nuclear power development. The NRC has failed to license new reactors, even the technological advances promised to make nuclear power safe, cheaper, and more obtainable and more abundant than ever. The failure stems from the fundamental error. Instead of efficiency promoting safe, abundant nuclear energy, and NRC has instead tried to insulate Americans from the most remote risk without appropriate models that posit there is no safe threshold and radiation exposure, and the harm is directly proportional, such as requiring the nuclear plants protect against the radiation below naturally occurring levels. The myopic policy is minimizing even trivial risk, ignores the reality that substitute forms of energy production also carry risks, such as pollution, which is potentially deleterious health effects. I gotta find out what that sound like. A very fancy word for delete. But that was a wrong word. I'm gonna copy that. Um, Health effects. Recent events in Europe, such as nationwide blackouts in Spain and Portugal, underscore the importance of an administration focused on dispatchable power generation, including nuclear power over intermittent power beginning today. My administration will reform NRC, including the structure of personal regulation and bias operation. In so doing, we will produce lasting American dominance in the global nuclear energy market, create tens of thousands of high-paying jobs, and generate American-led prosperity and resilience. Okay, now, when they first put this out, because I remember this is the one that I was talking about, and I didn't know what exactly what the title of the executive order was, but I was saying that they sounded like they was building wars and starting. They was gearing up to start a war, gearing up to sell explosives to these countries that they made $100 billion plus deal with, and I was going on and on about it. So, I'm not the point to just be putting information. I said that after I was going off. I don't really know what they got going on. That's just my opinion. Now, this is the information that they put out. Now, it's other stuff that's in this executive order. This is the purpose of the executive order. So I'm reading the purpose of the executive order, not the policy, not none of the extra stuff going on. Now, for what it sounds like, this has been going on since the 1950s, which is what they said. Now, I have people, my grandfathers, they were in the army. So this goes right directly with when this started off. They were both in the service, and this is hand in hand with what they were dealing with. And this is ridiculous that they actually trying to conjure something up that long ago, or they have not closed this hole because there's still strong people like my grandfather still alive. And I don't want to put him in something that he don't need to, but it's probably something that affects him directly when it comes to this. And now I'm not saying, I'm not saying him, but I'm talking about, just him being a part of it. They need to probably give him information about that's going out directly, since they want to do all these executive orders. They might have better insight on what they need to do instead of going over here and starting stuff with Spain, which they just said they was complaining about Spain and what you call it? What was the country that they said? This is just me reading it, and I don't really know what Spain and Portugal, they was having issues with pollution and blackouts and all this extra stuff going on with power. And it's also, they was talking about they don't know if it's going to, the proportions amount of going to affect people when they start radiations and all this stuff that they don't scare the world with already, with mass destruction and radiation pollution and all kind of stuff they don't already propaganded out here. People be thinking about. I'm not really intimidated about it, because if you know about energy, you have energy and you're born with energy. So it's either you can withstand the energy, your body can take it, and a lot of that stuff go hand in hand. Now, some of this stuff they don't need to be bottling up in a bottle, which is what they be basically what they're trying to do is conjure up something powerful, and for what? For power, for control, for to be involved. And then then again, they want to conjure up doing artificial intelligence. That means they're not smart enough to do what they need to be doing. So they need to put the people that's smart enough, which I said in my, without them, which I already talked about, and they want to duplicate minds and brains and all that weirdo stuff that don't need to be done. They need to just go out and seek the people that have already the intelligence when they born, seek them out, get them to actually go work in the world and do what they're supposed to be doing, instead of trying to put people on, I guess, government, or hold them up like some kind of prop that they say that they're on our side, and they want to steal the mindset and the brain and go over here and put it on some stupid sellout. And I ain't gonna call them what I really want to call them, but I already spoke on these things. That what it is. It's just get back to being, like I said, it started in the 1950s. I think it was World War II that was ending, or something like that, or probably had some kind of dry spell where it wasn't a war. I don't know. I read the history books enough to know that I know when the Vietnam was started, and there was other little small little villages over there in Asia that got messed up. from internal and separate and divide and conquer type of energy. You know, it was going on before this, but it was just this is still more recent. This is 1950, 1978. So what they talking about nuclear, what they call it and I remember learning about the key word was that just ring a bell to me when I was learning about this stuff, the rectors, and I just remember learning about those in high school, and it come back to you, but you gotta still go do the research. Like actually, he said somebody that just left high school. Like you remember talking about this, like like you gotta retain your information that you already know about, and it's like it's so much that they doing. You just gotta be mindful of it, and we just go move on from there. That's the information I got. That's my opinion of it. Hopefully, things get situated with these people who when they get in these warmongers and these fake warlocks get in these position of authority, they want to swing their sword any and every way, and then they might have residuals that could be detrimental to the people in the United States and in the countries that support. And it's causing a division because I want to still travel. I still want people to respect me when I leave this country. So I don't know about everybody else. I want to be able to go anywhere I want. It's without people like he's American or he's black. They say all the blacks in America is this. Like I don't want that kind of stain on my face. You know what I'm saying? So we got to clear all that stuff up. I don't. That's how it is. Now let's move on. Go to the next one. Um, reforming. See, that's crazy. It was regulator commission. Now it says reforming nuclear reactor testing and department energy. Now remember, I only played the first one I read. That's the one he read. Now this is what I didn't even read. This is why I'm glad I did live. This is why I'm glad I'm being organic about just breaking it down because I know what it is, but I don't know what it is. I'm not really there, so I'm not finna get because they know I told I was in debate for real, so I can't tell y'all how much debate and being on the floor, being in a position of what we were making rules, changing stuff in the schools, all that stuff I was a part of. So this is the stuff that's crazy to me. Is like I was just thinking about this, but that's what they signed, and I want to see what they say. We're gonna learn about it together. Okay, reforming nuclear reactor testing and department energy. I can't believe this. The United States led the development of civil. I could almost bet the people that I was a part of, they know people who was a part of this. That's all I can say. That's how much the class I was in was it was a very smart class. Like I couldn't say I was the smartest yet when I got there because I was only, I started in 10th grade and they was there since ninth. They probably was doing stuff in 6th and 7th grade, gearing towards that and, being interested. I was always interested, but I'm talking about like teaching and learning about it. But let me read it. The United States led the development of civilian nuclear power through the Atomic Energy Commission and National Reactor Testing Station, now known as Idaho National Laboratory, and several other federal government entities. The work produced safe and abundant energy, but in the decades since the commercial deployment, the new nuclear technologies has all but stopped. The Idaho National Laboratory has principal responsibility for constructing and testing new reactor designs. It is concluded construction of a new reactors in the 1970s. Our proud history and innovation has succumbed to over-regulated complacency. As I stated, the Executive Order 14156 of January 2025 declaring a national energy emergency. The United States needs a reliable, diversified, and affordable supply of energy to drive deployment of advanced technology in manufacturing, transportation, and agriculture and defense industries, and to sustain modern life and national security. The nuclear energy both is vital to this effort and has never held too much promises. Decades of research and engineering have produced prototypes and advanced nuclear technology as incorporate passive safety mechanism, improve the physical agricultural and reactor designs, increase reactor of operational flexibility, and the performance and the reduced risk and fuel disposal. Advanced rectors, including micro rectors and small modular rectors, and Generation 4 and Generation 3 rectors have revolutionary potential. They will open range of a new application of to support data centers, microchip manufacturing, petrochemical production, healthcare, and desalination, hydrogen production, and other industries. The United States cultivated the effort to design and build the first generation for rector and commercial use, but the federal government has effectively throttled in domestic deployment and advanced rectors, ceding the initiative and foreign nations in building this critical technology. The changes today, it is a policy of administration and foster nuclear innovation and bringing advanced nuclear technologies into domestic production as soon as possible. Okay, so basically they have, I guess the rector is some form of an entity that basically what I got from it is, and I'm tell you, I cannot remember. I remember learning it was literally a section. When you read a chapter, it's like the chapter was about rectors, and it's like somebody want me not to remember that is that hard. Is that important to what they trying to develop in the artificial intelligence, your mind, your technology up there in the sky with these high tech, what are they called? The satellites up there connecting the people in the world and the phones and all that high tech stuff that they did with the cable and so on and so forth, and trying to control people in the real life and putting them in their energy and all this. Once you've been around long enough, it's 2025. They trying to connect everything. They trying to do everything from a desk and do everything from how you reach your max capacity, and it all about the certification and levels you reach. They want to do it like some kind of game. And that's all it is. Being in the United States, we're in if you remember the first Hunger Games, we're at in the United States. This will be in like we'll be in society of like the upper echelon in the whole. If you go by it, and then you got to go in the levels of each state. And some levels is not higher than others, but overall, we more towards the higher echelon. I think it was the highest was the best, so we'll be towards like 3 or 4 or 5. Like we'll be in that realm still. Like okay, won't be war every day type stuff. You probably could be okay with just eating and raising your family, till it's like doomsday type stuff. So that's what we at in America. If you go break down, I know pretty sure across the world that people have watched the Hunger Games. I'm not gonna say we at the one because I have not traveled to all these different places. We might be at the one or two spot. I don't know for sure. I don't feel threatened physically. So we all in the spiritual warfare. So that's all it is. And I can't say we're the number one country in the world and not travel to Africa or Asia. So I ain't being funny with the people in America or Canada either. That's North America. So might be, you know how it goes. Like it's continents. The continents are the continents. So depending on where you at and how it is, how you feeling about the time frame it is, and everybody in the United States of America. This you got to remember, North America is split between Canada and United States. That's North America basically, and I have not traveled to Canada and seen it. I know it's colder up there. I know I heard that, but I heard it's more peaceful. I heard it's more nicer. Everyone got their own little ways of internal strife and disagreement. So I don't know what's the first hand what's going on over there, but it could be nicer and better over there than America. So I can't call this the grade A. And then, like I said, Africa's that big. It could be like 50 United States roaming around. You know what I'm saying? Asia the same way with their technology advancement. So I don't know. You can't really stamp your just because you live here. I don't feel threatened physically. Now what they tried to do with people spiritually is in the United States. Yeah, they went way over the way. They wasn't trying to protect nothing but the white supremacists and the Ku Klux Klan groups and the hate groups, and then they wanted to still try to dethrone the strongest with the tactics of bringing more people in just to stump on you, and then they got to fight them at the end, and then all this they're going to keep doing that same cycle over and over. So it is what it is. It's going to get cut short sooner than later. In my terms, I don't know about everybody else. I ain't fighting weirdos. Next, next executive order. We were okay. Rain Vergerity the nuclear industry base. Okay, I don't want to go to that. I'm gonna do that one. I'm gonna do restoring the gold standard science. Now I want to read this one. I talk about this all the time. Not to like, well, I think about this all the time. I won't say talk about it. Policy and purpose. So this is pretty long. We just gonna do. All right. Definitions for the purposes of this one's actually something important. This one probably gonna definitely go through because they trying to get back the resources, the natural resources that they was basically stealing, and they don't want people to come over here and take it back to the you know. I could talk about some stuff that I peeped, but you know, there's no reason to like that stuff is important. The stuff that they did in war and when they went over there to divide these countries that were actually producing gold, and when they did to California and Mexico and all that gold rush stuff and controlling it and trying to sell it and exchanging it for females and soldiers and all. If you read the history books that they gave you, they put out enough in school, but it wasn't that detailed. But you got to put stuff together the older you get. Tobacco field, whatever they was talking about, all that stuff still play hand in hand. They already destroyed a lot of the soil in the United States, so they're trying to figure out how to remission all that stuff. I still am mad about the oranges in Florida because I just know I would never be hungry because I could eat 10 oranges and be good for a day, and it's very healthy. So I could just go pull an orange, grapefruits, gone, orange gone. The only thing we got left is mangoes. But yeah. Let's go ahead. Let me just read it up. Restoring gold standard science. By the authority vested in the president and by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, including Section 7301 and Title 5, the United States Code is hereby ordered. Now, this is when people think they smart. This is probably something that's already in place, but they want to reiterate it and say that they did it. So we're going to go into it. The policy and purpose. Over the last 5 years, the confidence of the scientists act in the best interest of the public has fallen significantly. The majority, and this is Scientology actually crying and complaining that their stuff not working that good because they all attacked the wrong people. Now, the majority of researchers in science and technology and engineering and mathematics believe science is facing a reductively crisis. The falsification of data by leading researchers has led to high-profile retractions in federally funded research. Now, who y'all think did all the lying and the corruption? The same people writing this and crying. It ain't we ain't y'all wrote these. Y'all was doing the testing. Y'all are the reasons why. You can't blame people for your fault. This is retards. Like, and I hate to say that word on here. No offense to people who have disabilities. But think about what you writing. Like, this is complaining to yourself. It's already there. Fix it. Stop crying. Okay. This is how they steal money too. Unfortunately, the federal government has contributed to the loss in trust in several notable cases. Executive departments and agencies have used or promoted scientific information in a highly misleading manner. For example, under the prior administration, the Centers of the Disease Control and Prevention issued COVID-19 guidance and reopening schools that incorporated edits by the American Federation of the Teachers was understood to discourage the person's learning. The guidance restrictive and burdensome reopening conditions led many schools to remain at least partially closed, resulting in substantial negative efforts on educational outcomes. Even though the best available scientific evidence showed that the children were unlikely to transmit or suffer serious illness or death from the virus, and that opening schools with reasonable mitigation measures would have only minor effects on transmissions. The National Marine Fishery Service justified the biological opinion by adopting an admitted worst case scenario projection of the North Atlantic right of the whale population that was believed was very likely wrong. The agency proposed actions could have destroyed the historic Maine lobster fishery. The D.C. Circuit Courts of Appeals subsequently overturned the opinion because the agency's decision to seek out the worst case scenario skewed its approach to the evidence. Similarly, the agencies have used representative concentration pathway scenarios to 8.5 of the assesses the potential effect of the climate change is the higher and warming scenario. RCP 8.5 is the worst case scenario based on the highly unlikely assumptions like end of century coal uses exceeding estimates of recoverable coal reserves. Scientists have warned the representing RCP 8.5 as a likely outcome is misleading. Actions taken by the prior administration further blaming the same people you work with. Actions taken by the prior administration further politicize the science, for example, by encouraging agencies to incorporate diversity, equality, equity, and inclusion of considerations into all aspects of science, planning, and execution, and communication. Scientific integrity in the productions of the use of science by the federal government is critical to maintaining the trust of the American people by ensuring confidence in government decisions informed by science. My administration is committed to restoring the gold standard for science and ensure the federally funded research is transparent, rigorous, and impactful, and the federal decisions are informed by most credible and reliable and impartial scientific evidence available. We must restore the American people's faith in scientific enterprise and institutions that create and apply scientific knowledge in serve of public good. Reproductively, I hope I said that, and rigor and unbiased peer review must be maintained. The order restores the scientific integrity policies of my first administration and ensures that the agencies practice data transparency, acknowledge the relevant scientific uncertainties, and transparent about the assumptions of the likelihood of scenario use, approach the scientific finding objectively, and communicate scientific data accurately. Agencies use the gold standard science as a set forth in the order will spur innovation and translate and discovery success and ensure contain American strength and global leadership in technology. Now, if you were in school, in elementary school, when you learn about science, one of the first thing they tell you is science change. It can change over billions of years. It can change in a day, all from a natural disaster. Now these people sitting up here saying it's a standard. Okay, cool, it's a standard. But then y'all talked about in the previous statement that COVID happened, which I talk about has displaced a lot of people, which is why I don't understand why they're complaining, because they all part of the same group. You was president this time, that you messed it up. He came in, he got blamed, that you came in and said he did it, and all y'all the coops. Nobody cares what y'all complaining about. Y'all are the people who did it. Y'all, if you go search Joe Biden is on record of calling people roaches and niggers. Like this is not a fake thing. I don't understand why he acting like they're two different. And Trump was a Republican. He wasn't even a Republican his whole life. He was a Democrat. Then he switched to Republican. He was a Republican. Then he switched to Democrat. Then he went back to Republican. This is all to see who's gonna win, what side they want to be on the right side, and they all need to get out the way because they all not stable in their mental capacity and they don't have the ability to lead. And that's just what it is. The real leaders need to be there. I didn't even mind us. I wanted the woman to actually be a president because I know what women will naturally do. They definitely gonna protect first. That ain't never gonna be a problem. So America's gonna be straight. Then you got people who, it would have been more diverse. She probably was gonna tap dance a little bit, but by the third year, she's gonna figure out they're gonna be right on her about how much they done messed up already. So she would have eventually had to wake up and tap into some of that melon she got and then figure it out properly and work with the right people. So, I voted for her. I can't say like who I did or didn't, but you know what it is. Like some of these people are just hell bent on staying in their ways, trying to piggyback off these four people that they put behind them when they was reading this stuff off, and they don't even know that they, signing up with the devil. So hey, that's it for today when it comes to this. We're gonna go break some more down tomorrow because I don't want to go too long with it. I'm already at 40 minutes. I don't want to be here all day. I try to keep it under an hour because I know people don't want to be, and I still want to talk sports with y'all still. And the clips that I was gonna read, I was gonna actually go in, but I'm gonna keep that short too. I'm gonna try to get the two. It's a lot going on. I actually enjoy talking about that. This is very what we just talked about is very important. Executive orders are executive order. This happened 4 days ago. So hey, 4 or 5 days ago. So you need to be talked about. It need to be broken down properly. I don't know if y'all call my way proper, but not they don't spend that much time to just go up there, sign next day. Let's go 10 more executive orders and move on. No, I don't know what that is. This is today. This is what we're doing 20. So this Elon Musk and Trump disagreeing and basically people throwing them both out of advising and telling us what to do. And this is early. We just started this. We just started this. Which Okay, like I said, I like when Jasmine Crockett comes and speaks. So I actually subscribe to her show, her channel on YouTube, and what she says basically how I've been feeling. The straw man story, like she said, points that I've been seeing. This is literally a term in political world. It might not be used now, but it definitely was used. It's so funny because like I don't know, my mom pretty like super level, high level. So I don't know how I got it, but she showed me something one time, and yeah, but whatever. It's funny. But basically, Elon Musk is out of there. He's not part of the political world no more. For a state, I know he got a lot of money into it, so he's still gonna have to oversee his money. And I don't know if that'd be petty or not. He's talking about how much he was gonna save and help, but like she said, it was basically a distraction to and the deal that they made with Twitter because he definitely hyped up Twitter and changed the name and all that stuff. Got him that deal with the people who over Twitter first and changed the logistics of it. And that was a deal right there. That was definitely why he got in the position because Trump went. He probably still on Twitter. I don't go on Twitter because they blocked my like I said, all my accounts was hacked. A lot of people trying to be me, but they can't be me because when I start talking like this, they cannot stand next to me properly. They won't be able to stand up. They got to sit down, and that's a bar from the people. But basically, what I want to tell y'all, I like what she talked about. I'm glad they spoke on that, and we're gonna move on to the next clip. I want to kind of wrap this up on an hour today. The next one. And I'm glad he not gonna be a part of. I don't want to see nobody tap dancing. That's supposed to be in the tap dancing world. Now, Bill Clinton, I'm gonna play this. This is gonna be the last one I play today, and then we got some stuff to go over tomorrow. Leader Jeffrey said something at the State of the Union as well. He got a good clip. I'm gonna play that tomorrow, but I'm gonna do the one for Bill Clinton. His opposition on President Trump. They had a 5-minute clip, so I might play the whole thing and see what he got to say. And when Bill Clinton was in office, he didn't do all the work, but he was on the side where it was a lot of surplus of cash and fluctuation of cash, and he didn't do it, but he did a good job of sustaining that. And there was a lot of people getting fed. A lot of people had good jobs. Rent wasn't over expensive. It was still under $1,000 in America for 3 bedrooms, and it was a good time to work a regular job and save. You could be single, and it was a good time to be. When I was young, I got everything I wanted. I don't remember struggling. I know my mom worked hard. My dad did too. So family helps a lot. You have strong grandparents. That's the backbone of your family. When still to this day, and that's how it goes. And I appreciate all of them. So we're gonna listen to what he got to say. Like he was the president from 2 terms at the 91 to 98. So that's when he was there. So we're gonna listen to what he had to say. Pull it up. And this is the opposition. Yeah. All right. Basically, what I've been saying is he going. I don't know what kind of division he trying to cause in America, but he's definitely causing it. And I'm glad somebody with that status has come out and spoke with the same beliefs I have. I can't go against. I still live here. I have children. Like it's like I'm just speaking my opinion. I'm speaking as a taxpaying citizen. I'm speaking from people who can't speak as loud as they would like and all this stuff like that. So I'm glad he came out and said exactly what I've been feeling about how the president's causing division and how he cannot go against the court system because that's what their design is to check him. You still just like he appointed them to check him, just like we voted him in. That's what they there for. So I'm glad he spoke about the law firm that he's basically trying to disbar and discredit because they didn't agree with him, and the judges that he put in not agreeing with him because he's going over the board. This is what they call never happened before. So we're gonna try to keep it an hour. That's my clips, and you got real high level information today. Well, re-information because that stuff already is online. So we're gonna go right into you know calm it down, quick couple minutes, break down the NBA finals. Um, just speaking on the key matchups, it's Oklahoma Thunder versus the Indiana Pacers in that game, and it starts on June 5th. And the first game, 8 or 8:30, whichever one, 9 o'clock, whichever one. The key matchups, I was gonna just break it down. We got SGA, Shea Gilgeous Alexander versus Tyrese Halliburton. I think that matchup is basically a split, but somebody has a little bit more experience. I expect SGA to win that battle overall, just being more savvy, being more, leadership, but that guy has the killer instinct. He led his team. He's 25, I think, under 25, 26 maybe. I don't even think he's 26. I'm gonna say one of the youngest doing it, if not the youngest doing it. So that's gonna be tough for him. But you got somebody that's well seasoned, been around strong leaders and veterans, and his mentors is probably like Westbrook, okay, KD, and James Harden. These people he was already around, and I think when he got traded, I forgot who he was traded to, but he left. All these people have, it's a brotherhood. So he probably got some good people in his ear, just giving them information on how to handle the finals and singing with his coaches and gravitating his team and make sure these young people. The other one is Pascal Siakam versus Jalen Williams. Pascal Siakam has won. He was Eastern Conference Finals MVP. He's won a championship in Toronto, and it was basically the two men over there with Kawhi Leonard, the two option, and basically the same thing with this team. He could easily be the one option in the game versus Jalen Williams, the young guy, helping Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. I expect that matchup to be very heightened. Both are strong defensive players on the wing. Then you got Isaiah Hartenstein. I think Jay Williams shoot the three well, play defense great. So I want to diss him. He's still a young player. And a lot of people don't know his abilities. I think he's proven himself. Then we got Miles Turner, the key veteran for Miles Turner versus Isaiah Hartenstein, the center matchup. I think that's going to be a wash. I think Isaiah Hartenstein is a younger player. But Miles Turner, the leader, the veteran, been around for a while. We're shooting the three. All kind of it's gonna be interesting to see how that matchup is. Then you got the veterans on the team. Obi Toppin, I think he's been at least 5-6 years with Alex Caruso winning the championship with the Lakers. These guys gonna play a key role, just being leaders on the bench, as well as Aaron Naismith and Chet Holmgren. I think Holmgren starts, but he's a young player. Says Aaron Naismith, these guys are wild cards. They could you see Aaron win a game versus the Knicks by itself, dropping 21 points in 2 minutes. Chet Holmgren could stretch he could play 3 to 5, change on anything. He's a long defender. Just a problem being with his length. So it's gonna be interesting. And also, not to mention, don't forget, I got to go to the West Palm Beach board meeting tomorrow. I'm going to do that from 3 to 5. And June 10th, I will be for Policy 1000 down there for the Broward County School Board for that meeting as well. Those are key dates. Those people in the community that listen, they could go to these places, look them up on the school board website, on their calendars. And yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Thank y'all for listening. We're going to have a powerful show tomorrow. We're going to break down the executive orders. We got some more stuff I didn't get to. So thank y'all for listening. I appreciate y'all. And yeah, y'all have a good day, good evening. It's going to be exciting. I get to coach today. So yeah, we lit.